Hello and welcome you once again in this new session of history. And today's topic is the First War of Independence 1857. This War of Independence was fought against the Britishers, and many artisans, peasants, soldiers they took participated and they fought for India against the Britishers. There were many causes of the first war of independence, like the political causes. It was an policy of expansion in which there was an outright war. The outright war is to expand the territorial power in India by the Britishers and to safeguard their economic and political interest. The Britishers waged many wars, like the war, the Battle of Buxar in 1764. Then there was an Anglo-Mysore War from 1767 to 1799, in which East India Company annexed most of the territories of the Mysore state. Then the Third Anglo-Maratha War, 1817 to 1818, the Peshwa's entire dominate and all the Maratha territories north and south of the Narmada river were acquired by the Britishers. And then they annexed the Punjab in 1849, and when which the Second Anglo-Sikh War from 1823 to 1856. Then another reason for the political was the subsidiary alliances. Subsidiary alliances where Indians were brought under the British control without any annexing them. There was only done by the subsidiary alliances. Subsidiary alliances was an agreement between the British East India Company and the Indian princely states, by virtue of which these states lost their sovereignty, the power of the ruler to rule independently without any outside interference to the British. Under this system, it was accepted the British as the supreme power. All the princely states who came under the subsidiary alliances, they accept the British as the supreme power, surrender their foreign relationship to the East India Company and agreed that they would not enter into any alliance with any other power and would not wage war. Third point was accepted a British resident at their headquarters. Then they agreed to maintain British troops at their own cost and virtually lost their independence. Another cause was using of doctrine of lapse. Now, what was doctrine of lapse? Lord Dalhousie in 1856, the Governor General of India annexed many Indian states to the company using the doctrine of lapse. According to this doctrine, hire adopted without any consent of the company could inherit only the private property or deceased ruler and not his territory, which could not come under the company's rule. When the ruler of Jhansi died in 1853, leaving no natural heir, the widowed Rani was pensioned and their adopted son Anand Rao was not recognized as a lawful successor. So, in the subsidiary alliance doctrine of lapse, it was that the Indian ruler who died without any male heir, a Indian ruler died without any male heir, the after his death, the his territory will be directly under the company's rule. There were many princely states. They were victims of the doctrine of lapse were Satara, Jaipur, Sambhalpur, Udaipur. Even Jhansi was also there. Then, on the pretext of the alleged misrule. In 1856, the Lord Dalhousie annexed Awadh to the company's dominions on the pretext of the alleged misrule. The annexation of Awadh was arbitrary as the British seemed to have broken their promises made to the ruling chiefs, and Lord Dalhousie justified the annexion of Awadh on the present of the good of the governed, and the people of Awadh, on contrary, had to face more hardship. They had to pay higher land revenue. They have to pay lots of taxes on food, houses, ferries, and justice. Then another was the disrespect shows to Bahadur Shah. In 1849, Lord Dalhousie announced the successor of Bahadur Shah Zafar would not be permitted to live in the Red Fort after his death, and they were shifted to near the Qutub Minar. Then treatment given to Nana Sahib. Treatment given to Nana Sahib. Nana Sahib was an adopted son of Bajirao II, the last Peshwa. The British refused to grant Nana Sahib the pension because he was not his. He was an adopted child. So he came under the doctrine. So he was not allowed to get any pension or any money, and they were paying to Bajirao too. Nana Sahib was forced to live at Kanpur, far away from his family seat at Pune. This was widely resented in the Marathas region. And another reason was absentee of the sovereignty of British. Absentees of sovereignty means that India was being ruled by the British government from England at a distance of thousands of miles, and absentee sovereignty of the British was resented by the Indians. Then socio-religious cause was it was an interference with the social customs. Social customs, like social reforms introduced by the British in India, were aimed at improving the condition of the people. The result was that the reform, like abolition of Sati Pratha, widow remarriage in 1856, and opening of the Western education to the girls were not welcomed by the masses. The Indians thought that the Britishers are interfering in the social customs. Though they were doing the good thing, they abolished the sati in 1829, they introduced the Widow Remarriage Act in 1856, and they started the Western education for the women, but this was not welcomed by the Indian society. Another cause was apprehensions about the modern innovation. Modern innovations, people were suspicious of the introduction of the modern innovation like the railway tracks, telegraph. It was rumored that telegraph poles were erected to hang those who were against the British rule, similarly Orthodox Indians. Then the another reason was the policy of racial discrimination, in which the British officers were rude or arrogant towards the Indian. They believed that they are the superior to the Indians, and they dubbed the Muslims as a cruel and unfaithful. It and the administration was very much corrupted. Another reason was the corruption of the administration. The police and the petty officials were so corrupt, the rich always got away with the crime, but the common was looted, oppressed, and tortured. That means those who were the rich, they used to give the bribe, and the common person, they were looted, they were oppressed and tortured too. Then oppression to the poor, the complex judicial system enabled the rich to oppress the poor. And then the activities of the missionaries. The British were different from the Indian in race, religions, and sentiments. So, in the 18th century, the British showed a friendly attitude towards the Indian religions. They had no particular zeal for their own religion, and the company even acted as a trustee of some Hindu temple. But in the 19th century, they in they started in 1813. The numbers increased in both in the numbers and the activities of the Christian missionaries, and they now started to take the taxes from the Indian temples and the Hindu Muslims mosques, but they also started to interfere in the Indians religious matter. Then fear regarding the Western education. Most of the Indians, they were the orthodox, and the Western system of education was introduced in 1829 in Bengal, and people started suspecting that the aim of the Western education was not to promote literature and the science but to encourage their child to become Christians. It was believed by the Indian Orthodox that the people are they suspected that the aim of the Western education was not to promote literature or sciences but to encourage their children to convert themselves into the Christian. And taxing religious places, I told you earlier that religious sentiments of the Indians were hurt by the official policy of taxing land belonging to the temple and the mosque. Then law of property. So that's all for today's session. I hope you have understand about the socio-religious causes. In our last session, in the next session, we will start with the same chapter, and we will see about the economic causes for the first battle of mutiny, the first war of mutiny, 1857. So read this chapter and follow this video. We will meet in our next session. Till then, have a nice day and take care of your health.